My name's Kristi Tornquist, and I've served as Dean of Learning Resources and Technology Services at St. Cloud State University for the past 14 years. And it was my privilege to be involved with the last plans for the Miller Center construction, as well as the actual building construction process, and then the opening of this wonderful facility, which has now been up and running for almost 11 years at this point. We are currently in the Miller Center Auditorium, which is just a wonderful teaching and learning facility. It's also used for special events on campus. This room has a great past and I think a great future. It was designed to accommodate both visually and acoustically a variety of different purposes. So we have a rear screen projection in the room. We have surround sound in the room. So it's been a wonderful facility for theater class, or excuse me, film studies classes. We also have hosted many music classes in the room. The music department early on asked us if they could have a piano in this room, which we were able to provide access to for them as well. The seating in the room has electrical jacks and network jacks at each seat. That was very innovative at the time. I think the electricity in the seats still is. The network jacks, as technology has improved over the years, we no longer need because we have wireless access throughout the building. So we've actually just not even tried to keep the network access even up to date because it hasn't been necessary. This room, one of my memories of this room was picking the fabric for the chair. Originally, it had the original fabric that was proposed by the architect had a beautiful quilt sort of pattern on it. It was my favorite fabric of all the fabrics that we were picking for furnishings in the building. But when it came time to actually equip this room, that fabric was no longer available. So we got something that was the next best, and it's been very attractive as well as practical. But it wasn't. This is the one room I remember that didn't end up being exactly the way that we thought it was going to be. But I think for students and faculty, it's been just a really great facility for the purposes for which it was designed. Well, I'm just leaving the auditorium now, and I'm standing in a crossroads area for the east side of the building on the first floor. And if you look in either direction, we have our two IT office spaces, one on each side. So technology folks on either side. This side has had the ITV people, the web developers, our media support folks. The other side is more specifically the technology people. At the end of this hallway is where the dean's office lies. We have public phones for the campus here, and that was kind of a new exciting thing, that we had phones that were restricted to local calls only, but were free to the students to use. And then if we turn around and look down the hall the other direction, we have two areas right here that provide extended study opportunities for our students. So they're open 24 hours a day with card swipe access. And so even when the library portion of the building is closed and the gates are pulled in this hallway, blocking off that room, students can get in and use those facilities. They have computers as well as tables and seating. Well, now we've moved into the main part of the library, and we have a display case that people see as they enter the main portion of the building. They would come in through these gates, and we have this large, high atrium area that was one of the design features of the building, along with art. Glass art that was installed as part of the Percent for Art that's required of all building projects in Minnesota. This is a nice little gathering spot for our students. We have some lounge seating. Our circulation desk is back over here, and something that was an added feature for the building was the available workstations that we have. This was something one of our students, eventually who became a permanent employee, programmed and designed. Because of the large number of computers in the building, sometimes it's hard for students to find where an empty computer might be located. And so this refreshes every 3 seconds and provides students with areas where computers might be available for them to use. And it's been very, very, very popular. We also show where computers are available around the rest of the campus. Sometimes every machine in this building is full. And that's been one of the really exciting parts of the facility, is how popular it is. We actually have to open up classrooms in the evenings and weekends to add another, say, about another 100 computers to the mix, in addition to the public machines that are available. Now we're in the area closest to the reference desk, which is going to be over on my right-hand side. But you can see a lovely seating area behind me. This is very popular with our students. The light features in the building, the lights at the desks, the tables, were extremely popular when we opened the building. It was such a change from what we had before. And the ability to control your study space has really been a great thing for people who use the facility. Each of those tables also has a little, we call them scrubbing bubbles, but they have electrical and data jacks in them, and so people can bring their laptops in and easily plug in and use our resources wherever they want in the building. We have beautiful cherry furnishings in this building as well. That was an added extra. When we went out for bids for construction on the project, we came in under budget, so cherry furnishings were one of those nice little additions, as well as an additional second basement and some more classroom spaces, which really added to the usability of the facility. As we swing around, then the circulation desk that we mentioned before is on that side, the reference desk on this side, with our reference collections extending beyond it. The Multicultural Resource Center is in the far back right-hand corner. So this building was designed to have a lot of flexibility for long-term use. So we designed for the needs we saw, immediate needs, but also for the long-term needs of learners and teachers. So one of the things that we put in the building was there's trenches for both electrical and network, and so we can easily get data and electric within 8 feet of any space in the building. But we were very, very pleased that our first design was so accommodating to what we ended up doing that we've made almost no shifts in the building in the first 10 years. We did our first renovation, and actually for a building it's been a long time before we've done any renovations. We did our first renovation this past year, and actually we're still finishing that up. It's in the northwest corner of the first floor. That was originally designed to house our paper periodicals, at which time we had, I think, probably about 1,000 subscriptions, and that has decreased dramatically over the past 10 years. The paper subscriptions, our electronic subscriptions, have increased more dramatically, but the paper we no longer have to house. And so that space was becoming used less and less, and so it seemed desirable to accommodate some other needs that were more pressing. So we've renovated that space, or about to complete the renovation in that space. The periodicals have moved out and become closer to both the reference desk and people entering the building, and we've moved some of our government documents to the basement. So all those accommodations were made to better meet the needs of current users of the facility. So one of the other design features of the building was that we would make better use of the space by adding compact shelving, or the original design included compact shelving. And so there's compact shelving in the basement of this building, also behind the circulation desk to house our video and media collections, and one other small set in our archives on the 3rd floor. And that allowed us to take a larger space than in our old building and make even better use of it, because we could collapse the collections into very finite, defined areas. We do have regular shelving on this floor, on the 1st floor, as well as the 2nd floor and the 3rd floor, and it in part just because it makes it look like a library, and it's a pleasing feature of the design of the building, but augmented again by that expansive compact shelving. We did add to the compact shelving, maybe 4 years ago, I'm kind of forgetting, 4 or 5 years ago, we added additional compact shelving in the basement to have even more growth space for the future, and should easily accommodate any growth in collections for 30, 40, or 50 years easily, I would believe. Well, we're now on the 3rd floor of the building, and this is where I love to bring people. I take them up in the elevator and let the doors open, and I walk them over to this edge here and have them look over for just the wow factor of this part of the building. It's really a lovely view up here. In fact, we've had people say, wow, it looks just like a private school. How did you ever get a library this wonderful? So it's a beautiful area. We have some interesting features here because of the design. One is what we call the salad bowl light fixtures that uplight, but they're kind of an interesting architectural feature of the building. The other thing that they mirror, kind of upside down, the ceiling curves the other way, and that was actually a pretty big issue for the design of this building. The architect wanted to have a rounded ceiling, and the Minskew Facilities Office in St. Paul refused that design feature. They wouldn't allow a curved roof on the building. And so the architects went back and did some more work, and they came up with this curved feature inside the building where the wood curves one way and the girders curve the other way. And so they were able to still get the look and feel of that curved roof without actually having a curved roof. It was very nice. This was also where we had our grand opening for the building, and so the platform party was on the stairs, and we had surrounded by people here helping us celebrate. One of the really fun parts was we had sort of fireworks, streamer fireworks that were set off over the balcony edges and came down on top of people. And Ray Bradbury was our speaker. It was really just a wonderful, wonderful day, and primarily took place in this location. We've had some other gatherings here. We've been fortunate enough to attract some exhibits, some national exhibits, and we typically have the exhibits on this floor, and it gets a nice public setting for people to look at them. Maybe we'll walk around and I'll talk to you about a few other things in the building on this floor. We have the Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning, and that was designed as part of this building. Very purposely was put in the far end of the building to encourage faculty to walk through the building and be present to students. The students would see them in the building. So it's in the farthest reaches from the door. We also have 4 student study rooms on this floor, over on this side. We have student study rooms as well on the second floor of the building, and those were a new feature for us. We didn't have them in our previous library, and are very, very popular with the students. They are reserved in advance and checked out frequently. This floor is a quiet study floor. It was not designed necessarily that way, but because the building was so busy all the time, we had a lot of requests from students to have places that could be quieter. So the fact that I'm talking here is very disruptive for the people on the floor right now. But we made this floor and the basement, reserve them for quiet study. We have an archives on this floor. You're standing outside, or I'm standing outside the public part of the archives right now, and there's a rear room behind that has the storage for the archives. It was very specifically designed. We talk about it as like an egg, where it was internal to the building, and it has a separate heating and control system, heating and humidity and cooling system. The building tolerances for temperature and humidity adjustments would accommodate about a 5 degree swing. That was part of the building design, that it could get at most 5 degrees hotter or colder off a middle temperature, and the same with the humidity control. Very little swing, but some moderation. The tolerances for that in the archives are much tinier. So we want the heating and the air and the humidity to stay like virtually exactly the same to help preserve those very precious materials. So we have some special collections in there, as well as the history of the university, the archives of the university. And we have some Sinclair Lewis materials, John Hassler materials, some other rare books and documents, and then just items that are of particular nature to this campus and of interest because of St. Cloud State's history. One other collection that we feature in our archives was donated to us by a Mr. Lindgren. He, we believe, from at least historical accounts, served as a spy or perhaps with the CIA, although that was secretive at the time. And he served in the Far East and the Middle East for quite a long period of time. He retired back to central Minnesota, and he taught infrequently for St. Cloud State. And so when he decided to get rid of his collections and at the end of his life period, he donated them to St. Cloud State. And so we have some really unique and beautiful collections from the Far East and the Middle East that he picked up back in the 1930s And so it's really some unique items, and we have some of them out showing in this area, displayed in the third floor outside the archives, and then many more within the archives that we have housed there. And we feel very fortunate to have these collections and be able to share them with our students. There's also some lovely reading area spaces up on the third floor on this end of the building that overlook Barden Park. And so one of the nice, again, design features of this building is where it's located so close to Barden Park that the whole south side of the building looks out over the park, and it's just gorgeous all seasons, you know, when the snow's on the ground, when the flowers are blooming, when the leaves are changing, and then certainly now in the summer with the leafed out trees. It's just a very, very beautiful venue. We're now on the second floor of the building in one of our classrooms. We have 7 classrooms in the building in addition to the auditorium. When we designed the facility, we purposely designed the classrooms all to be set up a little bit differently than each one, to allow faculty to experiment with different teaching styles and venues. And so this classroom actually didn't look like this when we first designed it. This was very purposely designed to have 2 seats per computer with the expectation that students would do things together. That changed over time, and our faculty requested that wasn't as practical for them as what they would like, and so we doubled the number of computers in this room to better meet teaching demands that our faculty were expressing. Some of our other classrooms have the computers face each other, or the students face each other when looking at computers instead of the front of the room. The one on the main floor are in pods or circles. One of the ones in the basement, the computers are set up so that they're in the back of the room. The faculty member can lecture in the front of the room and then release the students to the back of the room. We have 2 ITV classrooms, which are really more seminar rooms that don't have computers in them at all. But all of them are equipped with the system that you can see in the front of this room. This one is probably the nicest classroom on campus. It has a rear screen projection unit in it, and a control system for the faculty member at the front of the room that allows them to use a DVD player, use a computer, use the projection system. So it's just a very, very nice teaching environment. And in fact, we replicate this across campus. We have a similar control panel for each electronic classroom on campus that were modeled after what we were doing in the Miller Center. And so this is really a premier teaching facility as well as a library and technology resource for the campus. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about our more comfortable upholstered chairs in this building. So the original design from the architects came back with fabrics that were going to be very bright colors. They were supposed to be bright red, bright green, bright blue, I think it was, very bright primary kind of colors. And each chair was going to have 2 types of fabric. There, maybe the back and the seat of the chair would be red and the sides would be blue, or they would all be mixed up in different combinations. And we didn't like that design very much, so we told them to go back and try again. And so they came back with these striped fabrics that are reverse of each other that have been really, I think, a really lovely feature of the building. And which we didn't know, they actually mirror the wood ceiling slats. So the stripes in the chairs and the stripes, if you will, or the slats in the ceiling kind of echo each other. So it really kind of added to the ambiance and the very classical nature. We get that it's timeless is the kind of comments we get from people about this facility. Unfortunately, the carpet hasn't been as timeless. We just were not prepared, I think, for the sheer numbers of people that were going to be coming into the building, particularly this area. This is the most popular lab on campus. It seats 120. And just has been overwhelmingly popular. This is the area that fills up so much that we open the 3 classrooms on this floor in the evenings and weekends so that people can have 100 more computers to use. The other thing that we weren't prepared for was the number of people that wanted to work together on computers. And so we had 1 chair per computer in this area, and we kept finding out we were missing chairs, or not necessarily missing chairs from the area, but missing chairs at individual computers because people were taking a chair from 1 computer to work with their friend on another computer. And so we ended up buying some additional chairs after we'd been here maybe just a year or 2, just to spread them out among the areas so that people could have the seating. They weren't having to kneel sit on the counter space. We were able to have custom designed furniture for our computers in the building. This is more straight line rectangular types of furnishings. Behind us there's more curvature or serpentine types of spaces. But in all cases we ask very specifically that there be more table space for students to put their coats or their books. We knew from other lab facilities that just having enough space for the computer wasn't enough for the types of work that students were wanting to do. And so part of the reason this lab is so popular is because we do have that extra space where they can spread out their materials when they're doing their work. We also have a help desk, a satellite help desk, if you will. We have a regular formal help desk for the campus in the basement, but we end up assisting many people at the second floor help desk because the lab is so busy. That's a primary place to get assistance. Behind that help desk area, the counter space, is more office space for both technology staff as well as our faculty that do technology training and support our faculty and students in teaching and learning. So we have the classrooms along this wall and some student study areas. We have 16 student study areas. They all are a little bit different. Some of them are smaller with lounge seating. Some of them have conference tables. All of them have a large screen projection type of unit in them, along with computer or internet access as well as DVD, and they had VCR players. Students can check out keys to those rooms as well as wireless keyboards and mouses so that they can use the equipment that's in there for group projects. That's enough.